Lori here. I'm actually here to do my reading rush TBR. Boy, how different a year is. Last year, I was actually in Virginia for my cousin's bachelorette week. But this year, that's not happening. So I'm hopeful that even though quarantine and social isolation is still in effect, that the one positive is that I can get a lot of reading done. And I have chosen a pretty ambitious TBR. Not quite sure if I'm going to be able to do all of these, but these are kind of my plans. And I have 3 options for one prompt, so we'll get into it. But the first book is Color of Birthstone. I'm born in August, so my birthstone is like a light green. Probably like not my favorite color, I'll be honest. That's not my favorite color. But I did wind up choosing Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This is like the only book in my collection that is this color, so I had like a very, very few options. But I know that it's like a thriller, and that's all that I know. I've never read a Riley Sager book. I know it has to do with like with a haunted house that they lived in when she was younger, and they left like in the dead of night, and her dad wrote like a tell-all about this house, and then she goes back years later. That's like all that I know. But I hopefully I'll fly through it. I have quite a few large books on this TBR. I'm not really into scary, I'll say that. I don't like horror, but I've heard very good things about it, so hopefully I enjoy it. But yeah, this is the first book that's on that TBR. The next prompt actually is read a book that starts with the. So I have 3 options for this. And I'm going to do them in order that I'm probably going to read them. First is The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren. This is a super quick rom-com, but it basically follows these 2 characters, and they're kind of the assistants for like this HGTV couple, and they're going on a book tour, but these 2 people like can't stand each other. But I think it's kind of like a dual romance between the 2 people involved, like in the reality show, and then their assistants. I've heard actually really good things, and it's another quick read. I've actually read a bit of Christina Lauren recently and enjoy it. Another one on the quicker side is The Rules of Disappearing by Ashley Elston. This is just a thriller. I think it has to do with the Witness Protection Program, and all of the contemporary books that I've read. Actually, everything I've read by Ashley Elston recently, I've really enjoyed. This is like probably one of her first books that she ever published, and it's actually a duology. So if I wind up getting around to this, I will be impressed. And then the last one in this pile is The Light in Hidden Places by Sharon Cameron. I actually just bought this, and this is a historical fiction book set in like Nazi Germany, and it has to do with a girl trying to save a family of I think it has to do, with 2 Nazis living below, 13 Jews sitting above, and a little sister by her side. Stephanie has one more excruciating choice to make. That sounds incredible. So I really hope that I get around to it, but it may not be this weekend, or this week. But these are the 3 for that prompt. So whatever I feel like reading will probably get picked up. But I want to have options. This is like a tentative TBR. I might change it, but this is like kind of where my head's at right now. Read a book by the movie that you have seen. This is going to be my first read of the readathon because I have not read Wonder Woman Warbringer. And if you would have told me this, I would have really laughed at you because I tried so hard to get this arc that year at BEA and I almost got trampled trying to get it. And the funny story is that I read Batman Nightwalker, I read Catwoman, I own Superman, so yeah, I really need to get around to this. So this is one that's high on my TBR. If I'm remembering correctly, I think it's also on my top books to read for the year, so this will get read. Yes, it's going to be my first book, and if it's not my first book, you can yell at me in the comments. Comment, please. Tell me what your TBR is, but I'll say that at the end, too. The next one is pick the first book that you touch, and I just kind of picked my TBR or close my eyes, and I picked We Are the Wildcats by Siobhan Vivian. I'm just going to kind of read, like, the little blurb because that's all I know about it. A toxic coach finds himself outplayed by a high school girls on his team in this deeply suspenseful novel which unspools over 24 hours through 6 diverse perspectives. I really love Siobhan Vivian's novel Stay Sweet, so I'm hopeful that I have similar feelings about this one, and I really like books that have a bunch of different point of views. So this will fit for that prompt. And then the next one is read a book completely outside your house. So with social isolation, this was a little bit challenging, but I do go to like, well, I have two thoughts on this. I could either read it like physically in my front like lawn, which is technically outside my house, or I can read it like in a park, which is why I only picked like a thing that's like, I don't know, it's not that long. It's like, does it even tell you how long this is? It doesn't. But it's like maybe like 100 pages. But this is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Volume 1, High School is Hell. They're rebooting the comics, but I heard that this is a very different observation of that story. So I'm curious. I definitely bought it. It's only Volume 1, and if I like it, I'll probably wind up picking up the other ones. I still have to read the other comics, but I figured this was a nice starting point. And then the last book on this TBR is, oh no, I have two more actually. Okay, the next prompt is to read a book set in a country that's not your own. So I wound up choosing Akata Witch by Nedia Okafor. I'm sorry, that's a bad pronunciation. But this is like a magic themed novel set in Nigeria, which sounds really, really cool. I know Reagan read it recently and thoroughly liked it. And just looking, like, kind of like flipping through, I like that there is like poems and stuff and kind of world building stuff. And the last book I'm going to talk about in this video is going to be read a book in a genre that you don't normally read a lot of. And that book is going to be The Thief's Daughter by Jeff Wheeler. I don't read a lot of adult fantasy. I'm trying to get a little bit better, but I don't read a lot of it. So that will probably be the book for that. I am unsure what I'm going to be listening to. I always have an audiobook on. It might be the Thief's Daughter because I actually do have the audiobook to that. But yeah, so those are kind of my tentative TBR plans. Let me know in the comments what are some of your TBR plans if you're participating, and I'll speak to you for my next vlog. You'll see me probably after, but if you want to see like what I'm reading on like a daily basis and stay like up to date, follow me on Instagram. It will be linked below like it always is. But I hope you guys are staying safe and being well, and share your TBR in the comments or on my blog post. Bye guys!